We ready? Yes? Call the meeting to order. Please rise for pledge of allegiance.
Not till the 28th. 23 more days.
Okay.
We just got back from the wonderful stadium and tennis courts and everything else over there. It looked great.
Yep.
And 28th of May, 7 o'clock, be there or be square. Right, Stretch? Right, okay. At this point in time, we have the invocations being given by Bishop Brian Evans, Holly Springer from the LDS Church in Apex. Welcome, Bishop, and again, great job with the arrangements that we are going to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. If I can just take a brief moment as well. For those who don't know, Mr. Derek Davis was a member of our congregation. He was the man who was tragically hit and passed away while jogging about 2 weeks ago. And on behalf of the family and all of those who knew him well, we just want to thank the town, the mayor, members of the town council, members of the community, Captain or Chief Leroy Smith from the fire department, all the first responders who paid tribute and were so gracious of their time and resources and are continuing to do so with the family. We are very grateful and appreciative. People have asked if we were ever going to do a moment of silence or anything like that. And knowing Derek, he was not a person that had any patience at all. So we're going to pass on that. But rather the family would ask that we would do something that he would do. And I would like to invite each of us here tonight in the next 24 hours to reach out and share a bit of kindness in a way that we normally would not to either a family member or a stranger or someone that we don't know. That has happened in the last week or so to so many of us, especially through things like the Memorial Run, the GoFundMe page that's been set up, all of the wonderful things that have happened for that family. So that is the invitation. I hope we can all follow that and continue to do that as we remember our good friend, Derek Davis.
Thank you.
Our loving Father in heaven, we are grateful for this evening, for the opportunity to be here at our town council meeting. We are grateful for the leaders of our town, for who they are, who they represent, and their desires and actions to improve our town and to help us become more of a community. We are grateful for the many blessings that we have received for our families and friends and for the wonderful community in which we live, for the freedoms that we enjoy as members of this country. We ask that this evening that thy Spirit will be with us, that as the town council meets, that actions will be discussed and that decisions will be made that will improve the lives of those in the community. Please bless each of us that are here, that we may look for those in need, that we may look for ways to support one another and to help one another grow and to share thy love one with another. And these things we humbly pray and ask for in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bishop. Item number 4, adjustment approval of May 5th, 2015 meeting agenda. Mayor Pro Tem.
Motion to adopt the May 5th, 2015 meeting agenda as printed.
Second.
Motion been made, second, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Item number 5, public comment period. No one has signed up, so we'll open and close the public comment period and go right to requests and communications. 6A, presentation proposed fiscal year 2015-16 budget. Chuck Simmons, Town Manager.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Good evening again.
Again.
This is one of, I guess, one of my official acts to submit this year's fiscal year budget. And typically, I don't read from a script, but in this particular case, I do have the budget message, the manager's letter to the council, which outlines this particular budget. Also on the screen tonight, some of the budget highlights that I shared with the council in an email. We will post those on the screen as well. Also, this particular budget document that you have, that each of you have physically, it's going to be posted online so our citizens can review that tomorrow. It probably won't be, yeah, it's electronic, so. But nevertheless, I will proceed because it is a somewhat lengthy budget message. Holly Springs continues to be a great place to live as the town maintains positive growth that enhances the town's ability to improve services provided to citizens and to invest in the town's future through transportation projects, water and sewer infrastructure, and parks and recreation facilities. To ensure that the town's growth is managed in a sensible, strategic, and sustainable way, the management team and staff constantly evaluate development to ensure the existence of a healthy balance of necessary and innovative growth and adequate protection of quality of life and town character. As Holly Springs continues to develop, a clear vision should be maintained with this balance in mind. This vision should include managed growth that enriches the quality of life objectives of the town, economic development in keeping with our community, investment in the town's future through careful planning, funding and scheduling of capital projects, beneficial partnerships to provide opportunities and funding for improvements, and innovation in developing the town's identity and promoting the highest standards for our citizens. We have identified priorities in how we would achieve both the goals of the organization and the service needs of our citizens within this document. While our finances have remained consistent over the last year, especially in relation to some other communities, we still feel it important to budget conservatively. We limited the number of new positions requested, identified areas that we felt we could have an additional revenue stream, and have restricted spending for the remainder of the year as we do every year. Actually, that'll be as of May 15th. That's typically when we try to do that. This budget has been developed to meet all the various needs of both our organization and our community, but one which I feel will provide us flexibility in the future. The proposed budget is designed to keep the town on a course to keep these objectives during the next year, and here are some of the highlights of the budget, similar to what you'll see on the screen. Touching on the revenues for the general fund, ad valorem taxes, you'll notice that we're recommending no increase in the ad valorem tax rate. It will remain at 0.435 cent per $100 evaluation or valuation. This represents and also the tax base itself, because of our growth, we really benefited from it. The tax base this year is $3.863 billion, and that represents a 4.38% increase in our tax base over last year. And those numbers have been provided to us by the Wake County Tax Office. State revenues. The state shared revenues are estimated based primarily on previous year's collections. The legislature, as each of you is aware, is in session and is considering options that could adjust our state shared revenues, particularly our sales tax and how that's distributed. And that it's extremely important that everyone be aware, and I'm sure the council is aware, that there are bills that are being circulated in Raleigh that, if approved in the current language, will have tax increase implications to the residents of Holly Springs. We've gotten some information from the league, for example, one of the, I think, a Senate bill which has the support of quite a few members of the Senate, that if it's passed, the town of Holly Springs would lose roughly $1.6 million in revenue a year. And in order for us to replace that lost revenue, we would need to raise taxes between 4 and 5 cents. So it's certainly something that we're very concerned about. We're going to continue to monitor it. We're obviously opposed to that particular bill, but nevertheless, this particular budget is based on, and this is key, this budget is based on the current law that we have today, but we'll continue to monitor that. Solid waste fees, we're recommending no change in monthly garbage collection fees. Some other key points, fund balance. We have appropriated no funds from our fund balance in this particular budget. Another key point, no additional finance is being proposed in the general fund budget. Revenues within the general fund, or the utility fund, excuse me, there is no increase to the water and sewer monthly access fee or to the existing water and sewer rate in this particular proposed budget. Once again, fund balance, we have not appropriated any funds from fund balance, although we have appropriated funds from our water reserves, and we'll touch on that in a moment. And there is no additional financing being proposed in this particular utility fund budget. Stormwater rates, there's no increase in proposed stormwater fees either. Now, you're hearing a common theme of no increase in fees, and that those particular fees would affect all of the residents of the town. There are some fees in our fee schedule that we would like to talk about at a later date during a budget workshop, some development-related fees, some rental-related fees, and also some fire inspection fees. And we'll have those discussions and determine what direction that the town council would like to go in. But these fees are standard fees that have been in place and really drive those funds, and we're not recommending any changes in those particular fees. We've established a new fund this year, Fiber Optic Telecommunications Fund. It's been newly established following the town's successful completion of its internet fiber network for the primary purpose of connecting it to municipal facilities with high-speed broadband service at affordable prices. Since the existing fiber network far exceeds the town's current broadband needs, opportunities exist for leasing excess strands of fiber, which will generate revenue that can be reinvested in the fiber infrastructure and the maintenance that accompanies it. And we're seeing the results of that. We've had a number of private internet providers that we're in various stages of negotiation for the lease of some of that dark fiber. Now, if we could, we'll shift to the expenditures within the general fund. All capital items have been appropriated, and a list is provided within your document. Department heads or departments' requests are also included in this proposed budget, so you can see what they requested, which is really identifying their needs versus what we are recommending or what I'm recommending funding. And as each of you is aware, when you're budgeting, you're identifying needs, and then one of the next steps in that is prioritizing, and that's what I've attempted to do. 8 new positions are proposed in the general fund. An accountant, which would be a partial year position. A building code inspector, which will really be paid for with as each of you are aware, we've got additional growth going on, and our inspectors are doing a relatively high number of inspections per day. So we're generating additional revenue because of the development, and those fees will pay for this particular position. 3 firefighters, we have partial year positions, and when I say partial year, that's essentially a 6-month position. We'll get there's funding in there for those positions to be filled in January. There are 2 parks maintenance technicians, and I'd also like to share with you, we are currently evaluating if it would be better to hire those 2 additional positions, because there's definitely additional work out there with the facilities that we're adding on, versus contracting out some work to Greenscape, for example, for some of the landscaping and mowing that our maintenance staff currently handles. And we're doing a cost-benefit analysis of that. We will be able to provide that to you. I feel pretty confident by our budget workshop meeting. So we can make that determination. But it really won't have any budget ramifications. It won't drive the cost up. If anything, it'll go down. Okay, we've also added a Public Works street technician. More detailed information as it relates to additional positions and pay grade, salary, and benefits can be found in the salaries and positions list section of the proposed budget. This budget also includes contributions to nonprofit organizations of $20,000 to be designated as the council so desires. Also a $10,000 membership renewal to the Chamber of Commerce, totaling $30,000. So there's really no change from this year to last year and previous years with regard to that. All debt service requirements have been appropriated in this budget to meet our debt obligations. The statement of debt is included for your review. The utility fund expenses, all capital items, once again, have been appropriated, and there's a list provided. We have 2 new positions in the utility fund that we're requesting. One is an engineering development inspector, and the other is a public works pump stations technician. Once again, more detailed information is provided in the document. All debt service requirements have been appropriated also in the utility fund within this particular budget. A statement of debt is included for your review. Just FYI, over the last 8 years, we've been placing funds in reserve to cover, or actually from our water reserves to cover the cost of the Harnett County Water Plant capacity purchase, and this year is no different. We've appropriated $874,495. That money will go toward our debt service payment for that, and it's coming out of our water reserves. With that said, that's a lot of money, but it still represents a 13% reduction in the amount of reserves designated for this purpose as opposed to the previous year. So we're trending in the right direction. As the model's working as we're continuing to grow, we're spreading that cost out over a larger customer base, and the utility fund is becoming less reliant on those developer fees, which really we want to eventually completely be free of that reliance. Expenses in the stormwater fund, really no significant changes noted there. When it was first established last year, the primary expenses within this fund are for salaries and contract services. The fiber optic telecommunications fund we discussed earlier, expenses associated with the creation of this fund are primarily for the purpose of capital infrastructure expenses and anticipated maintenance repair costs for the FY 15-16 budget. Here's some other general budget highlights. The salary requirements for next year include a market adjustment for full-time employees of 2%. Funding is provided in each department for merit performance pay in the amount of 3% of salaries. Salary budget also includes a 5% 401k contribution and longevity benefits and state mandated retirement of 7.07%. Those numbers, those percentages, I threw a lot of percentages at you, but that's consistent with, for the most part, with what we've done over the last several years, so really no changes there. Of course, as it's pointed out, the state mandated retirement, that number was adjusted up slightly a couple years ago, but it's still basically the same, very close. Employee health insurance, that's certainly one that we like to watch and we're often concerned about. This year we've got a somewhat modest increase of 3% in the rates for next year, and it's essentially for the same benefits. Why is that, you might ask? Claims for the past fiscal year were down a bit, which is a contributing factor as to why this projected increase in insurance premiums is less. And another aspect of that is I think our Human Resources Department's done a great job over the last few years of educating our employees on not going to the emergency room and using other options such as urgent cares and so forth for a lot of sicknesses and illnesses. And that's helped us to keep those premiums a little bit more manageable. With the current economic environment, our goal is to create a budget that will maintain and improve services to citizens while still controlling the cost for these services. That's a recurring theme within the budget message. And I feel like this budget does a solid job of that. As part of the budget process, it's important to have new development, and I think this is key. It's important to have new development absorb additional expenses for infrastructure rather than passing cost along to existing citizens. Without that growth, we'd have no option but other than to increase, either cut back on our services or seek other revenue options, which could include increases in fees and taxes. So, development, is key, and we've really benefited greatly from it. Let's see, we've used a portion of water capacity fees in order to maintain the current debt obligations, as I've touched on earlier. The remaining water and all sewer capacity and acreage fees continue to be removed from our operating budget to go directly into reserve accounts. The proposed Stormwater Enterprise Fund significantly reduces the town's reliance on development fees to cover these operating expenses by removing much of the cost associated with administering this federally unfunded mandate. It's important that the town gradually reduce its dependence on impact fees and charges for operating expenses, and we will continue to attempt to reduce these charges in future budgets to eliminate potential financial problems within the budget. As we proceed in the next several years, we will continue to evaluate projects and personnel needs as they relate to the provision of services. We have several substantial projects which will potentially impact all major funds during this fiscal year. Therefore, it will be important to prioritize programming needs with future budgets. We'll continue to work with council, staff, and citizens to establish our goals and objectives as the town grows to provide the level of service expected. Town staff has been instrumental, and I can't overstate that. Town staff has been instrumental in the development of this document, and I feel I've got a good job. I feel like they've done an excellent job of controlling cost while providing service levels expected by the town council and our citizens. This budget is our best estimate of what we should expect next year, and I feel it represents a fair assessment of our anticipated revenues and expenditures. I would like to give a special thanks to our department heads and to other members of those departments. Just to give folks an idea, when we ask each department to submit a budget, and then we have budget meetings, and we literally go through each line item. And I think the staff has been more prepared this year in answering detailed questions than ever before. They've done their homework. So I think our comfort level is greater as a result of that. We feel like we've really scrutinized this document, and it's really a partnership. We're working together. I'd like to give special thanks to some staff members that endured this entire process because it was pretty lengthy. Our finance director, Mary Hogan, she's still with us. Our senior accountant, Patty Dressen, they're troopers, and of course our senior project manager, Daniel Weeks.
Yay.
And typically, when we submit the budget, it gets to the council. Everyone gets it at the same time. But I would like to thank Councilmember Cobb for taking time during his vacation to look at this budget and pore over it. And upon his return, he sat down with us and had some questions, and very good questions that made us maybe rethink our presentation from a different perspective. And I feel like our presentation has improved because of that. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Our bean counter.
Our bean counter.
Did not do anything that anyone else wouldn't do. It was a joint effort.
On vacation.
That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
So in closing, and I'm sure you've been waiting for that, in closing, the fiscal year 2015-16 budget represents a level of funding that will allow the town to maintain and improve current service levels while making organizational changes to provide the best possible programs for our citizens. It's important to note that any budget external forces can affect these projections, i.e. the legislature. There could be others, however. And it is for that reason that the figures proposed in the FY 2015-16 budget are a very conservative forecast of our revenues and expenditures for the next year. Overall, the general fund, as pointed out earlier, has increased. This is actually the overall general fund by 4.25%, or $1.265 million from the current budget. The utility fund has increased by 12.78%, or $1.344 million. It's important to note when you see the increase in that fund, a lot of it's due to increased water consumption. Primarily, I'd say from three different sources. Novartis is now operational, so they're using more water than previous. We have the contract with Fuquay. They're currently using a minimum of 500,000 gallons of water per day. That's going to increase to 750,000 gallons per day. And then, of course, the town is continuing to grow. The number of households from year to year is increasing, so our overall water usage is increasing. So while it's a pretty large increase, it's based on a very educated analytical projection on what our revenues should look like moving forward. Thanks a lot, and typically we don't answer questions tonight, but what I would like to do is ask you, if you would, to set a date for a budget workshop. And I believe we were talking about potentially doing a couple
27th.
dates, the Wednesday, the 27th,
And
or
Thursday, the
Thursday, the 28th.
Right.
We had initially kicked around the 26th, but I think 82nd Airborne Chorus is at the Cultural Center on Tuesday. I'm not going to do it that day.
And the
So
28th is the grand opening, isn't it?
Yeah, and we can't do it the 28th either. We don't need to do budget. So guess what? The
How about the
27th sounds like a
27th?
good default
Council's all
date.
right?
Is that what,
That would be Wednesday, the 27th.
Wednesday, the 27th.
That's fine.
That's fine with me.
Sherry?
I thought we had said, we didn't already, oh.
No, we
I
haven't
will
said
make,
that.
I will,
That's tough for me.
yeah, it's tough for me, but I can't, I mean, I can make it happen, but it's a tough date. Didn't we already say a different date?
What would be an option, 26? There's something about the 26th, too.
We could do the 26th probably here, which would be a Tuesday.
What time is the budget meeting?
5:30,
What, usually 5:30 and it lasts,
Till 7-ish?
roughly, yeah. Hour and a half,
30
hour and a
maybe?
half.
Is it the time that?
it's that, yeah, I mean, if I could, like 6:45.
6:30?
Huh? No, starting early is good. 5:30
Oh,
would be good,
start
yeah.
early. Okay.
I could do 5:30, but if Hank says he's,
Not a problem.
Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar, there's something on there, and I'm not 100% sure what it is, but there's something on here I think I need to be at, but I could quickly send a text and find out for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
We're not going anywhere.
Want to do that now?
So we're looking at
Yeah.
Tuesday the 26th or
Wednesday, the 27th.
Which
Right now, Wednesday, the 27th, 5:30
I'm
until
sending a text to.
Hank and Sherry tells us
That's
what
fine.
they find out with this magic text.
And it'll be at 5:30, you said?
5:30, May 26th, or 27th, excuse me,
27th.
27th.
We
it's gonna
typically
be
do it
held
a little bit
where?
earlier, but we don't
You
have.
said the Cultural Arts Center, doesn't matter.
I mean, we can do it earlier, for me, I mean, it's fine.
Sure.
We can do it
Okay.
earlier.
You could do it at 5.
It all depends if I get them.
Yeah.
Right, you want to go on and come back?
Sherry, you,
We're good. I'm okay.
5:30 is okay?
5:30 is fine, yep.
5:30 on the 27th.
Okay,
well, we're
5
waiting for Hank, too.
All right,
Should we delay the motion until we get,
we can do that. Want to do that?
come back to that?
That'll be fine. I just for clarification, we're looking at the 27th. Is that the
Yeah.
date? That's the
27th,
Wednesday?
5:30,
Wednesday.
Okay.
subject to
And we
Hank
can
coming
come
back.
back.
Center or
What?
here? At the cultural
Cultural.
center?
Okay.
Is that it?
Yes.
That's what we planned, yeah.
Yes.
Most other days are okay, but
All right,
Oh,
well, let us know when you find out, will you?
Okay.
Okay?
We can go back.
All right, let's go back, let's go to, while we're waiting, let's go to 7A, public hearing, ordinance 15-04, post-construction stormwater management. Heather Kiefer. We'll come back to that.
Okay. Good evening.
evening.
Good evening, Heather.
Hi. So, as you know, our stormwater program is kind of guided by our NPDS Phase 2 permit. And one of the main requirements is post-construction stormwater. And that's the one that makes you put in water quality devices, so a wetland or a pond or some other device to treat water quality on new or redevelopment projects. When we started this program in 2007, we designed it to meet the state requirements that are mandatory and then kind of customize it to fit our own needs, whether it's for our procedures or the fact that the town's split between two river basins. So the Cape Fear River Basin has slightly different needs than the Neuse, but we wanted to have one stormwater program that kind of worked for everyone. So as a result, we made certain choices. Over time, we've evaluated those to make sure that they're still right for the town. And one of the things we've noticed is that we have a requirement that starts stormwater, post-construction stormwater at 20,000 square feet of disturbed area. This matches our erosion control ordinance. And the reason being was you come in for plan review, the development community knew that when they started erosion control, they also had to do stormwater. The devices and the site requirements kind of go hand in hand. The plans go hand in hand because you know, if you do one, it transitions into the other. Over time, we've realized that most of the sites that are under the 1 acre threshold, which is the state's requirement, that it gets challenging to put stormwater devices on it. So we saw that as a deterrent. Also, we looked at how many sites we really had that got permitted year to year that were in that in-between section between 20,000 and 1 acre. And there wasn't many, under 2 some years none at all. And then also, we look at post-construction as far as town projects. And town projects are either really big or they require stormwater because they're like a sewer line and it's grassed. So after looking at all this information, we're recommending this evening that we modify the ordinance to require post-construction stormwater to start at 1 acre of disturbed area versus 20,000 square feet. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy
Questions
to
of
answer
Heather?
them.
That matches the state requirement, 1 acre.
Yes. The current state requirement.
So it moves it up to about 53,000 square feet rather than 20,000.
43560.
43,500 feet.
Yes. 43.
That's under statute 14A6245.
Give or take.
A,
He Googled it,
I know.
but that gives you a lot more leeway, so
Yeah.
it's great.
Okay.
And much like the budget, there are some rumblings that the state might be modifying
Yes.
a rule that could affect us. So you might see me in a couple weeks with some adjustments, but we're not sure what they are right now. So this makes the most sense for us
We'll
at the
find
moment.
out.
Thanks for keeping up
All right,
on it.
thank you,
So-
Heather. At this point in time, we'll open and close the public hearing. No one signed up. Any further comments from the council?
No, it's pretty
None
straightforward.
whatsoever.
Go for it.
Motion to, go ahead.
Okay, motion to adopt ordinance 15-04, amending the National Pollution Discharge Elimination System Phase 2 Post-Construction Stormwater Ordinance.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you,
ma'am.
Miss Heather.
Thank you, Heather.
Or they're trying to.
Attachment 3A, consent agenda. Mayor Pro Tem.
Motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Agenda item 9A under new business, the Wake County Major Facilities Grant for NEMAC. Daniel Weeks, who was there, as a few others of us were.
Cleans up nicely.
He does, doesn't he?
Yes, he
He
does.
doesn't have hat head.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no hat here. That's right.
Good evening again, Mayor and Town Council. I think a lot of us have been looking forward to this agenda item tonight. After a considerable amount of time that the Town Council has put in and also town staff, we're thankful that we get to bring before you tonight the $1 million grant agreement between Wake County and the town of Holly Springs. The grant agreement it's in the Wake County's Major Facilities Capital Project Funding Program, also known as Travel and Tourism Dollars. So on February 2nd of this year, the Wake County Board of Commissioners authorized a funding commitment in the amount of $1 million for capital costs related to the construction and development of the North Main Athletic Center contingent upon some mutually agreed upon performance goals. So these performance goals have now been developed from Wake County staff and our staff to the comfort of both parties and are outlined on pages 5 and 6 in the agreement that's before you tonight. In the most simplistic terms, our performance goal is to reach 753 planned event days at NMAC over the next 7 years. And I'll go into a little detail on how that's configured. But if you look on your screen in front of you, we score an event day in one of two ways. Either through a ticketed event, such as a Salamanders game, a festival, an antique car show, something we sell actual tickets for, or we can track those tickets that are sold. Doesn't have to be us. It could be the Coastal Plain League. It could be Wake Football Club. It could be anybody. As long as we have a way to track those ticket sales, where at least 500 spectators are present at that event. So you can see in Table A, the number of spectators. If we get between 500 and 2,000, we get a point. 2,000 and above, we get 2 points. Adam and I tried to work it to where anything above, 2,500 we get 3, and 3,000 we get 4, and so on. But county didn't buy on that.
Good try, good try.
We've got 3 different reporting periods. Period 1, 2, and 3. You can see the years of operation on the second column. The first reporting period is 2 years, followed by a 3-year period, and then if needed, if we have not reached our goal of 753 event days after 5 years, at no penalty to the town, we can roll over to a 6th and 7th year. We do not think that will be needed.
Necessary, yeah.
Then you can see the target number of planned event days, 28 and 45 on the right-hand side. And again, these are for just the ticketed events at the facility. So now we move to these are, I guess, participant-generated events. So when sporting events are held on the tennis courts, soccer fields, or more multi-sports fields that generate at least 50 competitors from beyond a 50-mile radius of NMAC, we get points for that. So if the number of competitors is between 50 and 100, we get a point. 101, 200, we get 2 points, and so on.
Within 50 or beyond?
Beyond 50 miles. So when Wake Football Club holds tournaments
Yeah.
and they pull people in from Virginia and Georgia and South Carolina,
100 teams, yeah.
they will report that information to Adam and Lynn's department, and then we'll send that to Wake County in an annual report format. Adam and I spent a number of hours running the numbers on what we think we could generate, and we don't think we'll have any trouble hitting that 5-year mark, probably more like 3 or 4, hopefully. So whenever you add in all the different events we can hold at NMAC, not just the big soccer tournaments. So we garner event days cumulatively, which means that if we generate more event days in year 1 than originally planned, they roll over to the next year, thereby putting us in a better position to reach our grand total of our 753 at a faster rate. And as soon as we reach 753 event days, the agreement is done. We've satisfied all of our requirements of Wake County. And the good news is last night, or yesterday afternoon, the Wake County Commissioners unanimously approved this agreement 7-0. So it's approved on their end. If approved by the Town Council tonight, we will be in a position to request the full grant amount once the soccer and tennis courts are operational and a CO has been obtained for the stadium.
Maybe a tough approval, then. We'll see.
That's right. And just as a reminder, we plan to apply these grant proceeds towards NMAC elements that were value engineered out of the project early on after we received the bids. Specifically, they are a second set of restrooms along the right field line, the video board that we discussed tonight, the left field area, streetscape enhancements along Main Street. Could be brick columns, could be landscaping, decorative fencing, and so on, and then a beverage garden. Those are the items that we feel will be coming back to you to spend these funds on. I believe that's all for me, so do you have any questions?
Is this a new type of agreement, or have they had this agreement in place before?
I think they have used this same model before.
They have.
Yeah, this is the Ammons project in Morrisville. They used a very similar agreement
Nightdale.
with them, and yeah. And I believe Nightdale is still supposed to come back to them
Oh, it is,
this
yeah.
summer because, yeah.
We'll see. However, I do think this is the first time, this is a hotel motel tax, and that's probably one of the reasons why it's beyond, Sherry, which is a good question. But I do, unless I'm wrong, I think this is the first time that not only Holly Springs got this grant, but people, I think it's Apex, Holly Springs, perhaps Fuquay has never gotten one, as I recall.
That's right.
So there you go.
So
Any other questions to Daniel or
Yeah,
comments?
I do have another one. What if, hypothetically, I don't think this is going to happen, if we don't reach it, what happens?
In the agreement, there's a
I've
table.
read, but I want you to tell the,
Okay, sure.
I've read it.
In the agreement, there's a table that, I believe it's spaced over 5 years, and I believe $200,000 is forgiven each year. So if year 4, if we sell the facility to someone who doesn't choose to hold any events at it, then we would owe Wake County back $200,000.
I just
But
wanna
even
make
if-
sure.
Yeah. I believe the language is written that even if we were to sell the facility to XYZ company, as long as they hold events in that facility, then
Still counts.
our
It's
obligations
part of
just
It
carry
just
forward.
rolls over to that new
Yeah,
one.
as long as they operate it and
That's right.
hold
I just want to
events.
make sure the citizens knew how that worked.
Well, this has already been on WRAL. I saw that a few days ago, and N&O, and very excited. Again, the voting, as Daniel pointed out, was unanimous both times, from the original presentation and from this final presentation. Unanimous, meaning they all voted the same way. Any other questions for Daniel?
Awesome job.
Let's hear it.
Motion to enter an agreement with Wake County for $1 million towards the North Main Athletic Complex project.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It was unanimous.
Yep.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Daniel.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Going back to 6A, I think we have an agreement that it's 5:30 on the 27th. Am I correct now?
Can we bring
Yes.
that motion, Joni?
Yeah, please.
We have to leave it like 10 to 7.
Motion to set a special meeting of the Town Council for 5:30 PM, May 27th, 2015, at the Holly Springs Cultural Center for the purpose of discussing the potential adjustments to the proposed fiscal year 2015-16 budget.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Again, motion unanimous. Thank you. Zipping right along to agenda item 9B, new business, Utley Creek discharge upgrade to 6 MGDs. Sean Bird. Hi, Sean.
Good evening, council, mayor.
Evening.
I am also bringing you good news tonight.
That's always good.
So you guys know we received our 8 MGD permit in May 2012. But as a condition of that permit, the state DWR wanted us to move our discharge 2.2 miles through the wilderness, almost to Harris Lake. So everybody in this room basically thought that was an unneeded expense. And so we started the process of through a consultant and doing some environmental modeling to see if our discharge would have no significant impact at its current location. And as of Friday, May 1st, we have received our FONSI from the state, so we can keep our discharge at its current location. We do not have to spend all the money boring and drilling 48-inch line 2.2 miles through the wilderness. So,
Explain to them what a FONSI is.
oh, I'm sorry, it's a finding of no significant impact. Basically, it's a form that says your discharge and what you plan to discharge at this discharge point will not significantly affect any biology downstream.
Thanks.
So,
It's the terminology.
yeah,
It
that's
is.
right. So our next step is to complete some upgrades that have been shelved because of this condition that we were trying to fight for the last couple of years. And by the way, Kendra was the lead, and Aaron.
Yeah.
Kendra was the lead on that project to attain the FONSI. So she gets a big ups for that. So this contract I bring before you today, this is the next step to get us ready for 6 MGD. And let me see, I can bring up a schematic here. And I do apologize. The shaded areas are kind of hard to distinguish. There's a 6 MGD shaded area and an 8 MG shaded area. And I do apologize because they're not very clear. But I will show you as part of this upgrade, it's a cascade aerator here in the bottom left. That'll be our new discharge point. Our old discharge point was here. You can see it's a lot smaller. It couldn't take 8 MGD flow. The interchange tank here, there's an aeration grid that will be going in there to make it for aerobic digestion. And a chemical tank here for a day tank for our enhanced biological nutrient removal. And there are a couple of little upgrades that needed to be attended to because the original design was a 6 nitrogen, 2 phosphorus. Our current limits are 5 and 0.27. So we do have some enhancements we have to make at the plant so that we can stay on top of it and not, have a non-compliance in those areas. But that is about it.
Sean, generally speaking, what would have happened if we had not got the FONSI? Just generally speaking.
If we had not got the FONSI, we would have had to expedite quickly a construction contract to build that pipeline. And it would have cost $6.9 million.
That's quite a big savings.
Yep.
6.9 million
Nice
to
day's work.
195,000? Yeah,
That's right.
That's the first part of it,
It's just for-
Yeah, it's true.
yeah,
planning.
it's just the planning.
Other questions or comments of Sean?
This, I think, this reinforces our belief all along that this keeps the creek alive and doesn't deteriorate it at all, which seemed common sense to everybody here, but it's taken us how many years? 2 years to
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
this done. So,
I think that's a great point, because I think the studies that were done showed that the additional flow that we bring to Utley Creek, particularly during the summer months, actually enhance the ecosystem rather than harm it.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. Only thing I would add, I got here in 2001. This was an issue in 2001. We've been dealing with this issue for over 15 years. The state, we finally moved and got them to commit to doing this. So this will save our residents, our water customers, as it's been pointed out, millions of dollars, which will be saved in water user fees. It's a good day for Holly Springs.
Good day.
Absolutely.
Good job.
Other questions or comments? Seeing none.
Motion to, can I go?
go ahead.
Go.
Motion
You got the mic.
I didn't hear you, Mayor, say it was okay. Motion to approve to enter a contract with Davis Martin and Powell for engineering services to design and construct Phase 1 upgrades to Utley Creek Water Reclamation Facility for $195,600 plus 10% contingency.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Sean. Good job. Item number 10, other business. I want to continue on my crosswalk safety program. Obviously, it's even more important than it might have been yesterday. Anti-bullying continues on, but I want to really point out that the LDS Church in Apex did a wonderful job in supporting that family and continues to do so, and they should be appreciated, I think, for that thing. Other business.
I think I'm good.
I have something to bring up, if you don't mind,
Sure.
Mr. Mayor. Today, Duke Energy dropped off an easement for power line on across the property that the town owns at Fire Station 2 on Avon Perry Road. I've got to have them rework it a little bit, but it's just basically relocating power lines. But I would like the council to authorize you to enter into a easement for Duke Energy to
Relocate?
relocate that line, subject to my approval.
Of course.
You need as a
Need a motion on that?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to be recused from this, please.
Okay, good try.
Can we make a
First,
motion
want
to
to make a
recuse?
motion to recuse Councilman.
Make a
Motion to
motion.
accuse Councilman
Second?
Sexton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You recused for a second? You want to sit there? No big deal.
And I'll make a motion to authorize council to enter an agreement with Duke Energy to relocate the lines as necessary.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Motion to readmit Councilman Dixon to the meeting.
Second?
Motion made, second,
No discussion?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey.
You're readmitted.
No discussions on that?
Thank you.
Gracious.
No, not this time. Any other business?
Just, I was going to make some
Oh,
comments.
yes, please. I forgot
About this past Saturday, we had the 13th Annual Kids Appreciation Day at Suggs Farm. Beautiful day. Quite a number of vendors. We had somewhere between 700 and 800 kids that we gave out bags for.
When you say
And-
we, who are you
That's the
referring to,
Kiwanis
sir?
Club, excuse me.
Kiwanis Club,
In
Kiwanis
conjunction, in partnership with the Holly Springs Parks and Recreation
Of
Department.
course.
Club, though, that's.
Forgive me.
That was a good question.
Estimates are between 200 and 2,500 people attended the event on Saturday. And it was a very, very good event, and comments about the facility were outstanding. So just FYI for that. And secondarily, This past Thursday night, the had a fashion show for food for the Holly Springs Food Cupboard, which was the third annual one that they had at the Cultural Arts Center, and that was very well attended. And to all who came out and browsed the items that were there and raffle items that were there, much thanks goes out. My capacity, I am a board member of the Food Cupboard also, so it was much appreciated. So
Who did the fashions for that show?
Mary Babbitt put it together,
No, not, I mean,
and she
the
got them
companies.
from Michael's, TJ Maxx, several other vendors here.
Marshalls, yeah.
Marshalls.
Marshall, well, good, because, I mean, we've had several fashion shows in the town, so we're reaching out to all of them.
Joseph Banks was
Joseph
one of
Banks
was
was
one
one
of
of
them
them
for
for
the
the
men's,
yeah.
men's outfits.
And they've got,
So-
you know, we've had ones from Dress Barn, we have Joseph F. Banks, we've had them from, good.
But it was a lovely event, and thank you for all who participated.
I forgot one thing. I don't remember if I mentioned this last meeting, but you remember hearing about the Tony Perna chef? With the meatballs and the sausage and all that went on the dinner to support the anti-bullying campaign. I just got the last check, I think it was Friday. This event cleared over $2,000.
Wow, that's great.
You talk about being appreciative. It's going to buy a lot of meatballs. The meatballs were paid for. We paid for those. So we cleared about $2,000. The food was phenomenal. The turnout was great, and I appreciate the town's support and help on that
Tony
too.
loves doing that.
Tony loves doing that.
Turned it in.
Loves
I'll
it.
talk to him about it.
Several people asked Tony if he'd start a restaurant. Several people, including me. His answer was no. But you know, he's thinking about it.
His wife said no.
His wife
I
said
think that was it. Anything else?
Actually, back on the Kids Appreciation Day.
Sure.
When I was out there, it made me think that a number of years ago, that whole event used to take place under a picnic shelter at the
That's
park.
right.
And now it actually is spread out over a couple of acres.
Well, actually, it started out in the since I started in 2002, started out underneath a picnic shelter. I think, Jimmy, you came in a few years after that.
This was
And then
my
it spread out
eighth
to
or
the big,
ninth.
to the big bank, the band area. So it has,
Clamshell at the.
it has grown over the years,
I
but it's kind
remember.
of stabilized the same amount of people each year.
Actually, we were up a third more than we were last
Last year.
based on the vendors and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Pizza that was out and things, so we were.
Yeah, so
we-
I think a lot of it is just getting, I mean, I've talked to people numerous times, even this year. Don't forget to go to that if you can. It is it's an awesome event for the kids.
Well received.
Yeah, very, very much so.
Anything else? Manager's report.
Yes, sir. I've got a couple things. First of all, thanks to everyone that attended the opening day for the farmer's market. I think it was very successful.
Perfect.
Attendance, weather was perfect. Gina ordered the perfect weather for that particular
I
event.
took credit for it, though, didn't I?
Of course.
We would expect no less. So, no, thanks for everyone taking time out for that particular event. We're looking forward to an exciting season, another exciting season. I was just given this notification from Chief Herring. This is positive development as well. The town received a grant for 4 bulletproof protective vests for the canines, for the 4 canines.
Really?
Oh, good.
Yes. It was from an online group, Vested Interest in Canines Incorporated. So just wanted to make you aware of that. That's certainly good news. And we were talking about, once we get the vest and the animals are fitted, maybe we can bring a couple up here at a council meeting to
That's a good idea.
show that. So that's a positive. Also, of course, we have Turtle Fest this Saturday, and that's at Bass Lake Park from 1 until 4. And judging from the cars that were parked in Sunset Ridge this past weekend, that'll probably occur again. They'll be backed up even further on
Even
Salem
farther
Ridge
up
Road.
the road,
Yeah. Ever since we put that bridge has been in there every weekend with the weather's nice, you know, the parking lot
Walk
fills up
across.
and people are parking into the neighborhood. I think it's a great thing.
It's a good thing we're holding it now, because in 2 days after that, the road closes.
Just closed.
This is true. This is very true. And that's actually a great reminder. Bass Lake Bridge closes next Monday on the 11th. And we've been told it closes for 6 months. So
Well,
we shall see. Hopefully, it will only be 6 months. Yes, it is a state contract. It's not a town project. Thank you, sir. Good point.
I was told originally it might take up to a year. That didn't really resonate too nicely. Then I hear 6 months is possible. Now I hear maybe 5. And people ask the one question that I always hear, why don't you just close one lane? Well, if you knew what the problem was with the bridge, you can't close one lane. It's to the point where it's only scoring like 10 or 12 on a scale of 100, something like that. So you got to, how much is it? 6? That's even worse than 10. So that's the answer to the
No bridge
question.
is 0.
Yeah, you don't want to have that happen.
No bridge is 4.
4, 6, 5, whatever. Anything else?
4 points for putting your name on the bridge.
Thank you, sir. That's it.
Counselor, closed session.
In honor of Council Appreciation Night, I will forego any closed
Thank
session.
you so much.
They had those.
Is there a number for that?
Number 1, Rule 1.
Rule 1, okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all.
Right there.